Leadtionary 2023. Live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei. Every Thursday at 1900 GMT.
Hello there and welcome to another episode of Leadtionary. My name is Michael Obodu, your guest host, and we're continuing our conversation with Bishop Titi-Ofei on leadership. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Michael, for welcoming me to my show.
You're welcome again. But before we go into the conversation, let me just ask the public opinion. So, did you always know you'd be a pastor?
Yes, I think that we are purpose-built individuals, and you are programmed by God to become a certain individual to be able to make impact. When I was very young, it was in class 4. Class 4, that would be, I was around 10 years old or 9 years old. My teacher asked me what I wanted to become. And I said I wanted to be a teacher and a pastor. My father was also a teacher and a pastor. And so probably I was influenced by that, but I have become a pastor and a teacher. Anytime I walk into a lecture hall to deliver a lecture, my mind travels back and I feel, wow. And when I was in secondary school, my nickname was Chancellor. Wow. Because I always felt I was going to own a university.
From how many years ago?
Several years ago. I mean, you're talking in terms of over 30-something years ago. I always felt I was going to be a chancellor, owned a university. And so dreams usually are, your mind is like a movie theater that shows you the movies of your future that we call imagination, you know. And usually you end up becoming one of those movies that you play in your mind when you were a child.
Wow. How does it feel like living your dream finally?
It feels quite fulfilling because you are a purpose-built individual designed for a certain mission and vision. And when you feel you are doing it, you really enjoy. It's just like acting a movie. Actors love to act and they enjoy the acting. And you get paid doing what you enjoy doing. It's just like footballers. Footballers love to play football. That is why somebody is earning £200,000 a week. If the person still is not featured in the match, the person will still be paid. But the person is still not happy that he did not feature in the match because the person loves to play. So it's exciting when you discover your purpose, living your dream life. You should read my book, Living Your Dream Life, How Leaders Built the Dreams That Built Them.
Wow. But does this chase ever end? You are literally have accomplished, I think, a lot of the things that you had started off with. Does the pursuit ever end?
It doesn't. It ends when the Lord calls you home. Because the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. The more you build, the more you realize there's more space to build. You know, you look at what you have built there, you feel, I could have done better. Leaders always challenge themselves. If you are too impressed with your last achievement, that is be the end of your dream. Always look at your last achievement as a stepping stone, not a settling stone.
I'm sure there's so much about you we can talk about, but let's just go back to the original conversation. I know over the last couple of weeks, you've taken us through various facets of leadership. We've looked at vision and mission. Just for the sake of those who missed out, can you give us in summary what these two legs of leadership stand for?
So I believe that leaders see ahead, think ahead, act ahead, move ahead, and stay ahead of the competition. And that is vision. Your ability to create the mental picture of your desired future image and your capacity to be able to go to where you are going is crucial for leadership. And that is what we call vision. Having developed your vision as a leader, and you know where you are going, and you have designed your roadmap, you have to now motivate yourself. You need to say, why am I going to where I'm going? And that is mission. The reason for your existence, the reason for doing the things that you do. I ran Accra Business School and I pastor a church. It's because those are my missions. I believe that my mission is to help solve the African leadership crisis by discovering, developing, and deploying leaders from the church to the world, and win leaders from the world to the church. And so that is my mission. I exist for a purpose. It is for that purpose that I will join an organization or get employed or set up an organization. So that is vision and mission. So vision is knowing where you are going. Mission is understanding why you are going. And then the third thing that leaders do is that they determine deadlines. Deadlines. You can never get yourself involved in an ever-ending, a never-ending journey. You need to know what time it would take you to make that journey. So time management is one of the most important things that leaders do. Michael, many people do things, but only few people are able to get things done.
Okay.
And fewer people are able to get things done on time. Okay. But far less people are able to get things done ahead of time. Those far less people who are able to get things done ahead of time are what we call leaders. Now, you see, sometimes you are surrounded by a lot of people who seems to be very busy. Ask them after 1 month what they got done, and you realize that you are paying people for getting nothing done. Running about and making noise in the office. And these people are very visible. They are very visible because they are getting nothing done. People who are getting things done are very busy on their decks, having targets and achieving things. There are people who also get things done. But as to when they get it done is crucial. If you do in 1 week what others are doing in 1 day, you have gotten something done, you are effective, but you are not efficient. You are costing the company time. Okay. And then there are people who get things done on time. They are good. And you need those people around you as a leader. But the most important people you need around you as a leader are the people that get things done ahead of time. Leaders will always give you an assignment and give you a time to finish. They give you a task and said, I want this report on my desk tomorrow morning, this time. I want this done in the next 1 hour. I want this done by this time next week. I want this done in 3 months. When a leader tells you he wants something done and gives you a deadline to get it done, make sure you beat the deadline. Make sure you get it done way ahead of time.
You beat the deadline.
You beat the deadline. It communicates a certain seriousness. It communicates that you can be trusted. You can be trusted with more assignment. It communicates your capacity. It communicates your competence. It communicates your character. It communicates your charisma. It communicates your charm. And leaders are in love with those people. You need ambition. You need to be ambitious. You need to have the speed of thought. You need to think on your feet and get things done. You see, right now as I speak to you, There are three groups of people who are watching us right now, Michael. Those who are doing yesterday's things today. Those who are doing today's things today. And those who are doing tomorrow's things today.
Wow.
Those who are doing yesterday's things today are people who are late in life. They are doing at 40 what they should have done at 20. They are doing at 50 what they should have done at 40. You know, and these people would blame the system, would blame people, would blame. I grew up as a very disadvantaged child. I went to even class 1 at 8 years instead of 6. And I went through the middle school. And so by the time I got to secondary school, I was 16. And my mates were 12 years old and 11 years old. You know, but they have gone through the private school system and have written common entrance earlier at an early age. So I always felt that I was always behind time. You know, I went to university as a matured student. But how I beat time was because I acknowledged that I was doing yesterday's things today. So I created a sense of urgency. I did not blame the system. I did not blame it on the situation of my parents. When you play the blame game, you never win any game. You get it? So I created a sense of urgency. I needed to do in one day what others did in 1 week. I needed to do in 1 week what others did in 1 month. And I needed to do in 1 month what others did in 1 year. And that is what has brought me here. And that's basically what leaders do. They are also the group who are doing today's things today. They are average people. If you have your first degree at 22, that is what you should be doing. That's what every student is expected to do. But if you have your master's in our part of the world at 22 or at 20, you see, you've gone ahead of time. You've gone ahead of time. And people take you serious. People, you are communicating something about yourself. But there are those who do tomorrow's things today. They make the front pages of our newspapers. The founders of Facebook, the founders of all these social media things that we are crazy about. They brought the future forward. They brought the future to us. They showed us that you can go ahead of time. You know, they are inventors. They create things. They make things happen. And that is what leaders do. You may not have done it on a large scale like the founder of Facebook or that, but you may have done it in an organizational environment where people feel that before others thought, before others imagined, you have already imagined. Before your followers think, you should have thought.
Very profound. I'm still thinking about the earlier comments. If you play the blame game, you win no game. Wow, that's fantastic. But you see, you've shared some very key life nuggets in there. And so for all the young people out there who are watching you today and they want to rise through the leadership ladder, they want to establish some sort of relevance in their workplaces, you're basically telling them that find a way to be that efficient that the system needs you because it can rely on you.
The Bible says in Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1, there is time for everything. The key thing every young person must understand is that there are seasons. And when you miss a season, it may take you a lifetime to recover. I believe that from age 0 to age 25, you should be building a skill that you can sell in order to get yourself out of poverty. Michael, what you do on news, what you do on TV and on radio is a skill you are selling. It's a skill you are selling. You are getting paid for having a skill that you are selling. The first 25 years of your time should be focused on developing a skill that you can sell. From 25 to 60, you should be creating wealth, raising a functional family, building strategic networks, and investing in things that appreciate in values, buying lands, converting yourself money into real estate, investing in yourself. You see, many young people would rather buy cars than to buy land. But when you buy a car and you move the car from the shop to your house and you register the car, and 24 hours you change your mind and you want to sell the car again, the value goes down.
True.
The value goes down. So there are certain periods in your life, especially from 25 to 40, focus on investing in appreciating assets. Create wealth. By the time you are 60, you are retiring.
You say create wealth.
Create wealth.
Be deliberate about it.
Be deliberate about it. Cultivate the behaviors. There are two P's. There are two P's behind wealth creation: principles and personalities. You see, the principles are the things you are taught in your financial management class. Do this, put this here, save this amount of money, do that, and do this. Those are principles. But to be able to apply the principles, you need a certain personality. You need what I call financial behaviors. And people become more successful because they have the personality that can get the principles work. So it takes behaviors for you. It takes wise financial behaviors for you to become financially successful. It does not just take the principles. You can have all the knowledge about finance and will still not make money. That is why there are professors in finance who are poor. And there are guys who have never sat in an MBA class in finance who are rich. Because what makes you prosperous, it's not the principles. It is the personality, your financial behavior.
We have to do a series on life skills. I'm sure there's a lot to learn over there. But let me go back a bit on our topic for today, which is deadlines. Now, for a leader out there, it's my idea, it's my vision. I can take my time. Why do I need to set timelines?
Well, leaders know that they don't have all the time in the world. You see, one idea today will become outmoded tomorrow. So leaders know that time is crucial for every idea that they have. And I'm going to share with you how leaders really manage their times. You know, normally when you go to time management sessions and all those things, they talk about your daily plan, your this and that. And usually, those are brilliant things, but it has to be contextualized. It has to be put into something that you can relate with. So, but let me share these keys with you on how leaders truly manage time. Number one, leaders look at business. They look at the organization as a journey. And every journey must have time, how long that journey would take. Leaders would never get themselves involved in a never-ending journey. They want to start a journey knowing when that journey will come to an end. So the first thing leaders do is that they draw a roadmap to their journey. I remember a young man was assigned to me in a city. I went to preach in the church. And then I told the pastor I was going to another city to have a meeting. It was a very important, crucial meeting. So he gave me a young man to drive me. So the young man calls me the night before our journey and requests to see me. He comes to my hotel. At that time, years ago, we didn't have these mobile apps that will help you navigate the maps and all this. So he comes with a map, a paper map, and pushes it on the table. And with a very stern face, looked at me and said, "Sir, we have to determine how we're going to make this journey." And he says, "You see, this is where you are going. There are 3 different routes to where you are going. If we choose this, we're going to do it for 4 hours. But if you have time and you want to see beautiful things, this road, it really has some of the beautiful architecture, beautiful places to see, and you will really enjoy if you truly want to enjoy this journey. It depends on your time, if you have time. This second road will take us 3 hours, 25 minutes. But you see, if you want to meet pleasure, mix pleasure with business, let's choose this road, because there's this beautiful restaurant that we will just spend 10 minutes to order food. And I tell you, it's a Mexican food. You will enjoy it and you will like to have it again." Then he goes to the third route and said, "This will take you to where we are going in 3 hours. But it's quite boring. You see nothing. You don't get good food and there are no other things. So it depends on the time that you have." I said, "I wanted 3 hours." He marks us and says, "You are serious? You don't want to miss business with pleasure? You don't want to see exciting places?" I understand. That's okay. So we are going to go choose this place and we will go. Then he goes on to say, for us to get there at the time you want to get there, you have to be awake by this time. You have to be dressing up by this time. And you have to be downstairs your hotel at the lobby at this time. And I'll be there waiting for you. Gave a set of instructions. And I was ready for it. That is what leaders do. The gentleman came with a roadmap. Showed me all the routes to where we are going. We chose the alternative that suits my personality, that suits the time I have, that suits exactly what I was going to do, and that also saves us time. So we chose that. But also demanded that I needed to get ready at a certain time for us to be able to make the journey. Do you know when we got to where we're going to have this meeting, the white people hosting us were surprised we were on time. And they said to me, "This is the first time we are having a meeting with an African who has come on time." Because we designed our roadmap. Leaders design roadmap for people they work with. This is where we are going. I live here on the Sprinters Road. When I'm on Sprinters Road in Accra here, when I'm leaving home, the first thing I do is to go on Google Maps to determine which of the roads that is available for me to be able to maximize time and redeem time. It is very crucial that you understand this. Guess the next thing this gentleman did? The next thing he did was to determine which car will we use. So he comes in the morning and he comes with a Range Rover. But we had discussed earlier with the pastor that was traveling with the Benz. But he comes with the Range Rover and said, "Pastor, I had to change your car because the other car is not roadworthy. The wipers are weak. If it rains, we can't see well. I understand you have some files to go with. It is too small to make you comfortable whilst you have the files. You are going to work whilst we are traveling. I thought the Range Rover was good. The road you chose is a bit bumpy and can get sometimes a bit rough. The Range Rover is up, has stronger shocks, and we can go through that." So the first thing was to determine the road map. The second thing was to look at the vehicle, the roadworthiness of the vehicle. You know, the roadworthiness of the vehicle. Very crucial, very important. Leaders look at the people around them as vehicles for the journey into actualization, into fulfillment of vision, into accomplishment of vision, into achievement. They look at them, but they want to see your roadworthiness. They want to see your roadworthiness. They want to see how prepared you are, how equipped you are. You know, I think there are 3 E's that determine your roadworthiness. Education, equipment, and encouragement. How well informed are you about the journey we're going to make? How well are you equipped for the journey? And encouragement, how motivated are you for this journey? So the guy came, first he showed me the roadmap. We chose the fastest route to get there. And then, now he comes and says, I brought you a roadworthy car. No leader wants to start a journey with people who complain along the line. We are tired and we have to rest a little here and we have to do this. You have to be strong. You have to be robust, because the journey to actualization is very difficult journey. Sometimes you go through the valleys. Sometimes you run on the mountains. Sometimes you go through the crooked path and rough roads. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? And my wife is one of the most roadworthy women I've ever found. Our 30 years journey to get to what we have gotten to has been a very rough journey. And she was always with me, never complained, never murmured, never gave up, rather encouraged me. Leaders need people who are roadworthy to travel with them.
Wow. If you just tune in, you're watching Leadtionary with Bishop Titi-Ofei, the guest on his own show. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you more on the topic deadlines as part of a crucial requirement for leadership. Please stay with us.
Leadtionary 2023, live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei. Every Thursday at 1900 GMT.
Glory to God, glory to God, glory to God. This Bishop Michael Hattonwood, Senior Pastor of House of Judah City Church in the heart of Croydon in the United Kingdom. It's a great joy once again to invite every one of you to I Plus Glory to God 2023. I'm looking forward to, we've missed this I Plus Glory to God, and we are looking forward to coming to join my twin brother in ministry, Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei at I Plus. Glory to God. This year is going to be an awesome session, and I want you to invite your friends, your fellow pastors, fellow ministers, fellow leaders, fellow church workers. Invite them from the north, the south, the east, the west. Invite them from everywhere. Come to this conference. It's going to be a life-changing session. Leadership exists to give meaning to life. We are the salt of the earth. We are the city set on the hill. We are the light of the world. Glory to God. This earth is waiting for the manifestation of us, the signs and wonders, the living wonders, the solution provided. By the grace of God, I will be there as well. Glory to God. I look forward to see every single one of you that share this video and all the other videos. Share it everywhere and invite everyone that you know to be at iPlus 2023. God bless you and see you there.
International pastors and leaders under 40 Summit. I Plus 40 from 5th to 10th June 2023 at 7 a.m. each day at Christ Square, Pleasant Place Church, 29 Otuajen Avenue, Spintex Road, Accra. Free accommodation available to those coming from outside Accra. Ordination opportunity available. Call 0264 133 333. Theme: Fire Outbreak. Leadtionary 2023. Live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei. Every Thursday at 1900 GMT.
Welcome back. You're still watching Leadtionary with me, your guest host, Michael Obodu, and I have in studio with me your guest, Bishop Titi-Ofei, on his own show. You're welcome back.
Thank you.
Bishop, you've spoken extensively about how crucial deadlines are for leaders. You've explained to us that they must see the organization as a journey, and they must also ensure that they check their roadworthiness. And in this sense, you are talking about the fact that you need education, equipment, and encouragement to be able to embark on the journey. But I want to find out, must leaders necessarily have a regimentary approach towards life and leadership?
I think flexibility is key to your success in leadership, because we live in a very dynamic world and things change. You don't have to be very regimented about getting things done, but you also need to make sure that if whatever is getting done, the surest way to get there, to get to one end to the other end, is a straight line.
Straight line?
It's a straight line. If I want to get to where you are now, and I choose, instead of walking straight to you, I choose to go through here to get to you, I created too long route for me to get to you. So you want to be flexible, but don't forget that no matter how flexible you are, there must be this straight line that you do not want people to turn away from. Accommodate views, understand people, deal with people based on their personalities, but don't change too much.
This whole leadership thing sounds complex sometimes, because you're supposed to be strict but not too strict. You're supposed to be firm but not too firm. How do you every day figure out the middle ground, the balance?
Leaders are very good with people management, which is very crucial. You don't deal with the same group of, you don't deal with the same individuals the same way. I have something I call leadership by segmentation. Leaders must lead from the middle, from the center. And when you are in the center, you are surrounded by 4 groups of people. Those who are coming from behind you. These are people you are leading from the front. And these are people you lead more or less autocratically. You tell them what to do, and they do, because they are more or less novices. They are new on the job, and they take instructions. Once you are in the center, there will be people who are ahead of you. These are people you are leading from behind. The first group of people I spoke about, people you are leading from the front. Then there are people, once you are in the center, there are people you are leading from behind. These are people that you trust. They have built a certain amount of competence and skills, so you have delegated responsibilities, but you are monitoring, you are evaluating, and you are letting them know that you are there, and you are watching, and your eyes are on them. Then there are those that you lead from the sides. There are those on your left side. These are people that you lead with laissez-faire leadership style. So you are not so much monitoring, but there are systems in place that ensures that they deliver. You trust them. You believe that they are skillful and they can deliver. And then you have those on your right hand. These are very highly skilled people who sometimes are even better than you. You know, these are the movers and shakers of the organization. So making rules, you have to look at where the person is. If you are leading somebody and the person is on your right-hand side, Your rules are different. The person may not be selling his time. He may be selling a skill. And so you are not expecting the person to be in the office at 8 and close at 5. You're expecting the person to meet targets and deliver certain projects. When the person is doing that, you are fine. So you need to be a very dynamic leader to be able to lead different people at different times. People come in different forms and in different shapes, and you have to be able to build the capacity to do that. It is a reason why only few people rise to the top of leadership.
Wow, very profound. Now, we've done 2 points on deadlines as a leader. What would you say point 3 is?
So we've done roadmap, and then we've done check your roadworthiness. I think that to be able, as a leader, journey with people and make sure that you beat your deadlines, you should be able to predict your T-junctions. You need to predict your T-junctions. Several years ago, when my wife was pregnant with our third child, she had a lot of difficulties carrying that baby. So she spent most of the time at home, and I was usually in the office. One time I got home, and she felt a bit better. She said, honey, I've been indoors for too long. Can you just drive me around? So I was excited, super excited. My wife is getting better. All she's asking for is for me to drive her around. I put her in the car, and we set off. We were all right. We were all right driving around until we got to a T-junction. And we had to make a decision whether to take left or right. So then I asked her, where do you want to go? Left or right? She said, you are taking me out. You should decide where to go. Okay. You should decide where to go. I did not predict the T-junction. You know why I did not predict the T-junction? Because we were having joyride. When you are having a joyride in life, you have no roadmap. You do not predict the T-junctions. You just go and you are hit with a surprise. Coming here today to speak to me, you predicted the T-junctions because you know where you were going. You were not on a joyride. That is the challenge of many people. Many people are on joyride. The fact that you are in motion does not mean you are going forward.
Say that again, please. Wow.
The fact that you are in motion does not mean you are going forward. If you step on the streets right now, you will see a lot of people, a lot of vehicles moving out there and driving. Not everyone driving knows where they are going. Some are just too bored at home. They are going for a joyride. And they are in the car calling friends. Charlie, you there home? Charlie, where you there? Charlie, looking for people to go and visit. But there are others who know where they are going, sat in the car, and they are going, and they can predict the T-junctions. So you see, at the T-junctions, you must decide, you must devote, you must drive. So there must be a decision. Leaders should be able to make quick decisions on their feet. Procrastinating, deciding that you will make a major decision at a later date is a huge waste of time. Think on your feet and make that decision. Don't be taken by surprise in your journeys. You must know what is ahead of you. Once you have made that decision, devote yourself to that decision and drive people along with you towards the attainment of that decision, that choice. So predict the T-junctions.
And to do that, you must decide,
devote, and drive. We all come to that T-junction in your career pursuit. In your career plan, you come to that place where you have more than a choice. You have more than a choice, and now you are deciding which one you want to make, where you are at that crossroads and which one. Never, ever put yourself in that situation. Always think ahead, always predict it, always know where you want to go and get there. When I was 36, I launched something I call Operation 440. And that was what I wanted to become and achieve at the time I was 40. And I did it. And then at 40, I launched something I call Operation 1050, what I wanted to do when I was 50. At 50, I launched Operation 1060, 10 years plan to ensure that I retire very well. And so I never get to a T-junction to make a decision. I made the decision before I get to that T-junction. And I always know where I had to turn and why I have to turn that place and why I must turn that place. It's very crucial.
And because you have a roadmap already, you can foresee.
It's so easy for me to do that. So I don't waste time. I spend time. That is leadership. The next thing I think leaders must do, what leaders do to actually manage time and to beat time, is that they know when to service the vehicle. They know when to service the vehicle. I call the 3 R's of servicing your vehicle: rest, restore, reuse.
Did you just say rest?
Rest, restore, reuse. When there are people around you, I'm blessed to have these guys around me who work like something, and sometimes those who work very hard, you always need them. You always need them. But you see, the harder they work, at one point, they start losing that excellence. They start losing that performance. So at one point, give them a chance to rest. It won't destroy anything in the office. And then when they rest, they restore, they come back into that part again, that level again, that level of performance, and then you reuse them again. It's just like a football team. You have these players who are so efficient. You play them in almost every match. And then you start realizing that they start making mistakes. And those mistakes are costing you. You are losing possession of the balls and all those things. Immediately you realize that they are tired. Rest them. Rest them. Restore them into their performance, their peak performance stage, and then reuse them again. I use one car every 6 years. I never use 2 cars. I use 1 car every 6 years. And the reason why I do that is because the cars I use are always, even 6 years when I want to change to get another car, they are still new. Because I know when to rest my vehicles, I know when to restore them into good shape, and I know when to reuse them. And that is very crucial. When people are around you, know when to let them rest, know when to restore them, put things in place to help them come back to their level of performance, high level of performance, and reuse them. And you, the leader yourself, you should know when to rest. And when, sometimes we are guilty of not wanting to rest. You see, resting is not lazing around. Resting is just toning down on your activities, but it's not the cessation of activities.
So you're basically saying that leaders know when to take a break.
When to take a break. It's crucial.
How much break is enough break?
It depends on what is on the table. It depends on who you are. It depends on what you are doing. I can actually, in terms of Accra Business School, I can take a year's break and Accra Business School will still function and even function better. But some years ago, I couldn't even take 1 week break because we were building. You get it? We're now assembling a team. I have such a powerful team that I can take a year's break and I'll be fine. In terms of pastoring, how long break can I take? I don't know. I don't know until I take it and observe from afar what my absence is doing. When I take short breaks, the church does very well. Does very well. Because everything new has its own attractiveness. So when I take a break and I'm not around, and new pastors are preaching and people get excited. But they have to do it over a long period of time before I can say, well, I can take that long break. So it depends on what is on the table and what you do.
Interesting. What would be point number 5?
Point number 5 is that you must have spare vehicles. In other words, you must have alternatives you must have additions, and you must have assistance. So I use one car for 6 years, but there are always other cars available I can fall on if I feel I need to rest the other vehicle. But what belongs to me is always one. But my wife's cars are always more beautiful than my car. And I can depend on those cars. But on a more serious note, there will always be people around you who are very efficient, and you want to depend on them and other things. But you must always ensure that if these people break down, if these people leave, their replacement should be so easy and fast. So you must always ensure that you have spares. Sometimes when your organization is big, you can always employ 2 people to do the same work. But when it's not that big, you must create what we call a skill bank. A skill bank of people with those kind of skills that you have available. And whenever you need those skills, you can fall on them and bring them in. So have spare vehicles always available that you can depend on. I have friends who are my spare vehicles. When things I have to do and I cannot do, I fall on them and they come in and stand in. I'm a spare vehicle for other people. In fact, there are other, especially pastors, the people I look up to as fathers. I've always told them, I'm on standby. When you need me, I'm on standby. I've had calls in less than 24 hours where I have to fill the shoe of big men that are bigger than me. Say, listen, I'm supposed to do this. I feel so tired. Can you go and do it for me? I'm a spare vehicle for some.
This is very profound, because one of the things I have a challenge with is leaving my car with the mechanic, because I don't have a spare. So it really drives home this message you're trying to put across, the fact that we need to have spares. So
you do have spares, but you think that a spare is something that must belong to you. Uber is a spare. Isn't Uber a spare for you, for your vehicle? But we always think that a spare is something that must belong to you. One of the key things we have to learn in leadership is that leadership is not ownership. You don't have to own things to lead them or to use them. Joseph was never the owner of anything, but he was one of the most influential leaders of his time. He didn't own Egypt, but he was the most influential after Pharaoh.
So we've touched on drawing a roadmap. We've touched on checking your roadworthiness. We've touched also on predicting the T-junctions and knowing when to service your vehicle. You've spoken also about always having a spare vehicle, which doesn't necessarily mean you must own it. What next?
What next? Leaders looking at leadership organization as a journey with which they need to manage their times and meet deadlines. What they do next is to obey the traffic rules. Obey the traffic rules. You do. See, one of the things that you notice about very highly successful leaders is the fact that they are very ethical. They play by the rules of the game. They play it safe and make sure they play it very fair. So play by the rules of the game, which is very important. Once you start making your journey, no matter how fast you want to get there will be that red light there asking you to wait, because you have to give way for others to also pass. Sometimes the best way to compete is not to compete. Sometimes the best way to compete is not to compete, because you get to this place where there's the traffic light is red. What it means is that you are giving that other person the chance to now go ahead of you. And people die because they don't want the other vehicle to get ahead of them. So the thing is red, they want to speed through it, and they end up killing themselves and dying. Building very important ethical values that makes you ensure that you play by the rules of the game. gives you a good name that opens doors faster for you. So leaders play by the games, obey the traffic rules. And the final one is that observe the road signs. Observe the road signs. You see, when you are making a journey, Accra's roads, Ghana's roads can be very dangerous. And that's why they have road signs. The road signs always communicate to you what you should expect ahead. There's a bridge ahead. Cattle will be crossing ahead. School children will be crossing ahead. They will tell you, drive 50 kilometers per hour here. You know, sometimes when I'm traveling with young guys in my car, I love people. So when we are traveling and daddy's car, we are going to use it. My car takes 8 people. Why should I be the only one driving in it? I put all of them inside. So let's go so that we can talk, we can converse, and we can chat. So we are in the car and then we are driving there, we are talking. And I love driving myself. So sometimes I'll be driving myself and my team members are in the car and we are talking and all those things. They're like a family to me. And then we get to a place where there's 50 kilometers per hour and they say, oh, daddy, this car in the engine, when you go 50 kilometers, you are wasting the engine. Step on it. And some of them have never bought cars before. So how can you be advising me? It's just useful exuberance. Let's go open the engine. That is you. When you travel, open the engine, step on it and open the engine. And sometimes whilst you are doing your 50 kilometers per hour, you see another person driving past you, most of the time young people, and they are looking at you in the car and they are telling you, why are you wasting time? Why are you wasting time? You just keep quiet. You just keep by the rules. You just observe the road signs and you're going. And along the line, you go and meet them. Police have arrested them because they've driven beyond their limit and they have been arrested. And most of the times I look at them and wave them because I'm still going. On a more serious note, the journey you are making, people have already made those journeys. The stories of the people, their failure stories, their success stories are road signs. It tells you what you should expect ahead. It tells you what you expect ahead. Observe these people, learn from them, and you save yourself a lot of time. I've been a pastor for over 30 years. If I speak to you on pastoral leadership for 1 hour, I'm giving you 30 years experience in 1 hour. You should be better than me. You should be greater than me. You should be more successful than me because I've become a road sign to you. What it means to travel in ministry for 30 years. So learn from people. Get examples to follow and learn from people. Learn from people's experiences. Follow the examples and use the examples to educate yourself. You will save time and you will become successful.
We're almost out of time, but I think you're sounding very inspirational right now. So to all the leaders out there watching you right now who are at the crossroads, who are not sure whether they are cut out for this, who have hit a snag and they're not sure where to turn to, what would you like to say to them?
When you are at that T-junction and you simply don't know where to turn to, you know, sometimes starting all over again. Okay, so let me put it this way. A friend of mine, we were traveling and we missed a turn. We missed a turn and discovered that we were on the wrong listing. And his wife told him earlier that you have missed a turn, so we are going the wrong way. The guy argued and said no. When he discovered that we had missed the turn and we were going the wrong way, he was so arrogant to admit. He just kept saying, no problem, there's a way ahead. I know, we can. You see, when you discover you are going the wrong way, it is better, it is safer, it is faster to return and restart your journey. You just don't have to keep going when you discover it is the wrong way. just return, restart your journey, and make sure you find the right way to go. Why keep going the wrong direction when you know you are going the wrong direction? Restart. It is very, very, you see, sometimes we have to bury our pride, humble ourselves, know where we made a mistake, and just restart. Time is not ending soon. Jesus is not coming soon. He may come soon, but as far as he hasn't come, give yourself time to restart.
Give yourself time to restart. On that note, that will be all for today's edition of Leadtionary with our guest, Bishop Titi-Ofei, and me, your guest host, Michael Obodu. I would admonish that after today, you visit all the Titi-Ofei social media handles and take time to digest all the information that has been shared on the show with regards to leadership. And I can assure and guarantee you that your leadership journey would take on major flights. My name is Michael Obodu. Let's connect on Twitter at @mobodu. Please stay safe. Bye-bye.
Leadtionary 2023. Live on Facebook at Bishop Gideon Titi-Ofei. Every Thursday at 1900 GMT.